Hi, Nick Duffy here from Nick Duffy Golf and MMG Golf Performance. Here to talk a little bit about flighting wedges. So in some past videos, I talked a little bit about distance control in wedges and how to get better at them. This next part's going to talk a little bit about when you're playing around a golf and you need to actually bring the ball flight up or down, how to do it. One way I like to kind of do it is just kind of using first off, the appropriate loft. So you got to make sure, depending on the green you're hitting into, what you're able to hit. So I'm not going to try to fly a pitching wedge into a shot over a bunker when I'm trying to flight it low. Just doesn't make much sense, especially if it's like a 50-yard shot. Ball's probably not going to stop. It's going to come in a little too hot. Won't be the appropriate shot for that, for the shot I have in hand or for the conditions that I have in hand. So that's a big disclaimer to start out with. Make sure you're hitting the right club. You actually have the appropriate shot that's going to allow you to hit that club. If I'm hitting a shot into a front pin, just like not much in front of the green's not very elevated, I know that I could kind of skip one in. That little pitching wedge shot works out pretty well. It won't get me in any trouble. As long as the soft, in front of the green isn't too soft, I should be fine. With that being said, as we're going to go through this, we're going to talk a little bit about where you kind of finish, rehinging the club a little bit. So as I'm getting through, I'm picking my shot out that I want to hit in the golf course. Got my 56 in my hand. I've got a 75-yard shot, so that's one I could pretty much vary the height of my shot without having to worry about it being too short or too long with this club. I mean, I really don't have to hit it very hard with this club to get it to the pin. So say I got one that's an elevated green, not much wind. I don't have to worry about it getting killed up in the wind. I know the green's going to be pretty firm, so not only do I have to hit it high, it has to come out with a decent amount of spin, and I have to use a little bit of the loft on this shot to actually bring it down softly. What I would do in that situation is I would basically set up normal, maybe a ball slightly ahead of center. Then from there, I'd feel a little bit more hinge going back than I normally do. And then on my way through, I'd feel like a little bit more rehinge, but I'd keep turning. So if I were to get to here, rehinge, and stop my body, I might hit this shot a little fat. But if I'm rehinging and turning through the shot, this ball, my club's just going to pass through the ground. I'm going to make kind of just a glancing blow into the ground, into the turf. I'm not going to hit massive divots. This is a good thing to practice anyways, just to kind of get used to hitting balls off a little tee with wedges so you don't make massive divots. I know when I played probably some of my best golf, professional golf, I was not a great wedge player, and I would basically just take huge craters out of the ground, super steep with my AOA, really before I knew much about that at the time. Nowadays I train a little bit differently with my wedges if I still had money on the line for it. Don't have to worry about it these days, thank God. So anyways, so when I'm trying to hit those high ones, I'm going to have way more rehinge or holding on or maintaining of the loft of this club through the shot. I'm not going to really be trying to drive the leading edge into it and hold my finish off, because I want to use the loft this club has to help the ball get a little bit higher in the air. Now with that being said, because I am adding loft to it, I don't need to do anything else, which is maybe like falling back on it, try to add secondary tilt to help get the ball in the air. That wouldn't really help much either. Stall out, hit it fat. I'm just going to use a loft and my release to help me get this ball in the air. So that's one way to do it, to flight the ball a little bit higher. You can find out how far you hit each one of your wedges doing these type of shots to either add loft, take some off, or just know how to basically flight them through the course of a round of golf, or when the conditions get a little funky. So another one would be my little three-quarter kind of hold-off finish, little straight arm shot. So the ball would be middle. I don't want to go too far back with wedges. I never really like to hit it myself. Then I'm going to go very little wrist hinge going back and kind of use my pivot more on the way through, and I'm going to hold it off with my hands. So I'm going to feel like I am using way less hinge, bit more body rotation, and flighting it down using that. So I'm going to feel like I'm holding on to this angle, and instead of driving the club in the ground still, we still don't want to do that because it's still going to produce too much spin. We're going to feel like we're getting to right about the ball, and as we're getting here, we're going to keep turning it up, pulling the shaft up, make sure you get that launch we want. So with that being said, if anyone's been basically looking at any wedge data for the last let's say 7 years, it's pretty much been kind of discussed. Talk about the 31, 32 degrees, how high you really want to launch a wedge. So if you've been looking at that data, you'll be seeing it, you don't really want to add much loft or on impact. You're trying to launch it a little low and spin it a lot, right? Problem is that shot's not always the perfect shot to hit at time. So this is kind of a specialty shot thing. Big disclaimer, this is not something we're trying to do on a day-to-day stock wedge. If I have, 75 yards, green slightly elevated into the wind, or it's a normal shot, I'm going to hit that little 32 degree launcher all day long, right? So these ones are the lower one. I'm trying to really drive it down. We're flighting it into the wind. I'm trying to maybe skip it one hop big and stop it on the back of the green. Got a lot of room between me and the pin on the green. It's not a shot I want to fly at a back pin. These are situational type shots. These are different than stock or what you would read like in a Golf Digest, or what someone may say like in another YouTube video talking about, perfect numbers. This is stuff situational golf. Just like the high one. The high one's going to be launching way too high for what, TrackMan or FlightScope would say launch angle wise it should be. And what we're really trying to do on these shots is try to hit it the appropriate launch angle and height to get the ball to stop on the green, or what the wind may be doing, or maybe hitting it over a tree, or maybe trying to hit it over a bunker. These are situational type of golf stuff. I know we've all been there before. We get a wedge shot in our hand. We miss-hit a drive, 75 yards, and we're trying to get it over a tree. That is not a stock shot. That is not something you normally do in a round of golf. That is something you got to do in a specialty mode. So this is what that shot applies to, and that's when we're trying to go for either A, adding a little bit of loft, B, taking a little bit of loft off, and then knowing when and how to do it. So that's what those two finishes and those two release patterns help you with. So overall, I hope that this helps your game, helps you kind of know what to do in the situations on the golf course, and help you improve your game. And once again, if you liked the video you just watched, please hit subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, let me know how we did. If there's any subject you'd like for another video, please let me know in the comments. That way I can try my best to get those loaded up for you. Hopefully this helps you out and we can make you a better golfer. Thanks.